Always love my shameless plugs. Got my lag bag here. And what's going to happen is I'm going to use a real club here. Okay, so when I go into setup, I can just go into either going up to the top, coming down into impact, and then again, you can see where I got some good shaft lean. But for me, I got like our compression wedge on our lag bag, making sure that club face isn't open, making sure it's not closed. I'm trying to get where I'm coming down into that ball. My hips are a little open, my left leg's a little straight, my right leg's a little curved in, I'm pushing off that hip. So sometimes I might even just go where I go into impact fix. And you see, like, I'm not pushing my hands forward, I'm turning and pulling, right? My left shoulder is pulling my arm up here, and that's what's making that get, like, my hands get stressed and pushed forward. Okay, so those are two great drills to do. And we'll get into like a little impact fix drill too, I think. So lag pressure. Okay, so do you ever see, I see Rory do this a lot. Lag pressure, what I want you to think about is the club is, like, the club head is the caboose, right? It's like I get up here to the top and it's getting dragged back to the golf ball. Okay, so I can't swing my arms down because now my whole body got passed. So when you think of lag, most of the time in the industry of golf, when we think of lag, most of the time lag is described as this angle between the left arm and the golf club, okay? Well, if that's the case, then how do I have lag in a putt, in a chip, in a pitch, or even in a level wrist pitch shot where I don't cock my wrist? Okay, so lag is the pressure that's being applied to my pointer finger as I'm driving through. So if I use this kind of like little bulb thing here, again, if I go here, I feel that pressure in that pointer finger. You can see the shaft is being a little stretched, right? It's a little like arching. If I do it with a stick, it's going to be a little bit probably even more exaggerated, right? So that's what's happening, okay? That's lag. The club is lagging behind. I always kind of use the expression like a skier getting pulled by a boat. You know, the skier can't pass the boat. Yeah, we all know that. For some reason, because our golf ball is not moving, our skier tries to pass the boat, which is the hands. So trying to go through and do some drills with this, I think this is a really good drill to kind of do. I've seen Rory do it where he like holds the shaft. Again, we kind of call it a pump drill, okay? I would do it where I would do it really slow, hold position as much as I can, coming up to the top, holding. And now when I'm doing this, I'm also checking my wrist action. So again, if I want my wrist to be here, see how you can't see my watch? That's flat, okay? So if I'm doing this pump drill and I'm coming down into here and this wrist is already cupped and bent, there's no chance I'm going to come into impact with a flat wrist. So I have to make sure that when I'm doing all these rehearsals, I'm training my hands to do exactly what I want, right? So I got here, I'm coming down, this is good, okay? Coming down, what we got, Brian? That sounds great, cool, thank you. So, just worried we're using a new mic today, so hopefully it's a lot clearer on the recordings too. So if I'm coming up to the top, what I want you to do is you're gonna take your pointer finger and you're just gonna hook the finger, and we're just gonna go up to the top and we're gonna come back down. But you can see like how my body has to help me do that. I'm not just doing this with my arms, right? So notice how I'm coming down into impact, and then I can release it if I want to, and I can do that really well actually into like an impact bag. It's a great drill. I don't have to do anything. Again, they're also known as smash bags. I don't like to call them smash bags because I don't want to hit it hard. I'm coming in here and then I'm coming down into impact. Now, if I pull this back far enough so you can kind of see me do that, when I'm coming down into this position, my wrist is uncocking and rolling into plane. So I'm coming down, that left wrist is flat, down into impact. Club face is really square. Now, when I do like using the impact bag, I find too many people kind of come in here and they kind of look like this. I always try to keep my head back a little bit, almost like I'm looking at it with my left eye, just to make sure that we're not peeking a little too soon. But I would go through, do that, hold the positions. Again, like freezer swings, go through, hold positions. If I'm going through and I get into this position and I hold that for a couple seconds, I'm only in that position for hundredth of a second maybe coming down, but I kind of feel where my foot is, where the pressure is in my right foot, where's my hip, where's the pressure in my hands, where's the club. Again, like I want that club to be kind of angled back and up, okay? And we're gonna talk a little bit more about that through the course of the videos too. We call that shaft wants to be parallel to the angle of approach. All right, so straight baseline. Get my laser here. Again, for those of you who are on that have taken lessons with me, you know how much I love my laser. Again, mine's pre-made or handmade, custom made. Laser off of eBay, and a little mount that flashlight mount. You can get like a flashlight mount that you can put on a bike. This is a flashlight mount for, I think, a gun. But you see how I got my laser here? You can kind of see it on the ground. So what's going to happen when I swing back, that club is going to swing back and try to trace that line. Okay. Now when we start talking about body types, okay, I am a believer that as more of a cover golfer and my hip starts to turn, we do tend to take the club inside. Probably the only person on the planet that believes that. But when I come back here and you start to see that line, again, pointing at my baseline, it's tracing all the way down. And then I come through, and again, like that club is parallel to the baseline, releases and comes through. So that's me controlling the shaft. So we have controlling the club face with the left hand, controlling the club head with the right hand, and controlling the club shaft with the baseline. And I always like to put sticks down on the ground. Again, like you always hear people talk about working on alignment. Again, we want to make invisible lines visible. Hard to see a baseline if I don't have that drawn out. And I'll actually even take one of my other sticks here when I'm practicing. Keyword when I practice. 3 kids and job kind of makes that tough. But I like to build this kind of like railroad tracks. I always set this one up first because I want that front one to be pointing towards my target. Then I will set this one up to be parallel, and then I will get this one to be parallel to those 2 lines too. Okay, so that's kind of my practice that I'm working on. And I will even actually add, again, this yellow angled stick here. Kind of angle this down so you can kind of see that a little bit better maybe. So you can see how when I'm coming back down into my golf swing, that club shaft, when I'm looking down, is very parallel to that yellow line. If I'm coming out and over the top, the club is making an X right now with the orange stick. So I'm coming back down. Again, butt of the club is pointing slightly out to the right of the target line. That is going to dictate my path, okay? So if I'm really in here, that's gonna be a big path. That's gonna be probably like 10 degrees into out. So you don't really have to do it that much. I'm gonna lose my iPad here. All right. Yeah, last time I was already trying to crank through all this stuff because I thought it was already done. All right, so why I screen before I try to fix. So most of the time, if you come and get a lesson with me, let me fix this because this is crooked. My OCD, I can't handle the crookedness. Sorry, you probably can see it too a little bit. When I go through and I'm trying to screen someone, I'm usually listening and watching more of what your tendencies are to, before you even hit a golf ball, listening to what your tendencies are for your miss, because what I find is certain swing types and body styles have the same tendencies. So like if you tend to hook the ball, I would tell you, you probably don't want to hook your fingers because it gets your grip too strong. You need to be more of a cover golfer, and that would probably help you not close the face as fast, which we'll talk a little bit more about when we get into more of the BioSwing Dynamics. So there's things that influence the motion when we're going through all of this. So when I go through, I'm trying to diagnose where I need to go, what components, again, going back to my system, out of all those 144 variations, which ones do you need to have? And it helps me, and it helps teachers, because again, like I'm not the only one who's doing this. There's a lot of great teachers who use Mike stuff and BioSwing Dynamics, but it helps us get you where you need to be, controlling the ball, compressing the ball, making better contact, faster, scoring better, everything, okay? So that's where when we wanna go through, it's understanding what your body is designed to do. Again, for 30 years, I tried to do something that I physically could not do. And I played okay golf, but now that I know what I'm designed to do, I don't have all these different swing thoughts. I'm not worried about positions. I kind of just have a couple things I know I mess up, and if ball tells me I do one of those 3 things, I fix it. So we're gonna go through, and again, we're gonna talk about 5 screens, but I'm really gonna kind of harp on 3 primary ones, because I feel like those are kind of the 3 that I really see the most important. So again, so you got Mike Adams and EA, again, great friends and mentors, and they put together basically a system and to where they can tell you how you need to grip, posture, where your arm should swing. Again, it just helps me out of all those 10 quadrillion ways that Homer says that there's available, which way your way needs to be. So your wingspan to height, so you're gonna need someone to help you with that, but measuring how long your wingspan is, fingertip to fingertip compared to your height, dictates how your arms go and your posture. Your forearm's gonna dictate how you slot the swing. Your trail hand grip, which is, again, so the ones in the black are gonna be the 3 key ones that I'm gonna stress the most. Trail hand grip, that is probably, I think, one of the most important things, again, for controlling the golf ball. And then going through and the anchor, so pivot, how we anchor to and how we turn and rotate. And that's gonna be how we use the ground. And then your lead hand is gonna be how fast your hips are. And I get a lot of times like how strong should my grip be? Again, it depends on you.